Okay. Um, Merry Christmas, everybody. So let's see. The video that I'm gonna be doing today is um me comparing um Miracle on 34th Street, the 1990s remake, and the one that was the black and white version. Since it's Christmas, and I wanted to say which one I think is better. Like a lot of grew up with both. It's kind of hard to it's kind of hard to not give the night that way. It has a fair chance since I grew up with it. I mean, I don't remember a time where it wasn't around. So, but I'll judge that one first, since that one I would have to say the original version is better. But the original has one flaw. I mean, before it didn't have a flaw, but this one now it kind of does. It's not its fault. Time time has changed since then. So let's see. So the one to be back in the 90s. Um, I would say the characters are in it are pretty good. We got what's her name? I forgot the actress's name. The little girl. Um, she's just pretty much cute in this. I mean, she has sometimes she's serious, but mostly she's cute in it. And saying that she doesn't believe in Santa Claus because her mom doesn't want her to have her heart broken like she did when her father left her and her mom. So I think in both versions that's pretty good about it. I mean, in this version, she's a lot more. She wants more from Santa. Um, so she again, like the older version, she wanted just a house for her and her mom to live in. In this version, she wants a house and a brother. So her she has more reasons to need Santa in this version than the other version. So um now I would see what Santa's better. Well, I think, not sure, pretty sure that the old version beard, you probably couldn't tell. They glued on his beard to so even though they pull on his beard, it's fake. They just had it really good glued on. So um let's see what else. And the bad guys, to me, these movies don't really. So both Santas are pretty good. Both of them show the what Santa should be. Both that's what. So they both show that Santa should be a kind soul who would help out any person, any kid, and who just wants people to believe in him, and show that he's a symbol of the good mankind trying to help out anybody. And I think both of them do that. They both help the family out, um, help out the mall, and help better because he I think he has a better reason to be angry about the whole entire thing with than the whole entire thing with but not being like in Santa. I mean, the newer versions has to do with doesn't have to do with like a psychological thing. I mean, it's mentioned in it, but it's more has to do with more has to do with um like competition. because the competition of the other store is trying to get rid of that store's version coal, because in the older versions is Macy's. So in the older version, it's more of his doing more of being believing that he's Santa. More has to do with people think he's crazy. Both versions had to do with him making think he's crazy, but I think the older version, since it has a therapist in it who diagnoses him, said he's crazy, even though the therapist is a jerk. So, and it Mara Wilson. That's the girl in the new version's name. I just don't see her name that often since she's no longer acting. That's why I forgot her name. So back to the Santa. So since it has to do with more of psychological terms and he has more to prove than the new version, I say the older version of Santa is better, and the newer version of the little girl is better. So now let's talk about the court. So just like I said about the older version, it's I kind of like both because the court. Let's see, because the older version does the like the casework better, but like the whole entire thing with what happened, it's like they had two different results. Like the way they decide if Santa is Santa is the older version, they use letters that everybody in the world believes he's Santa because everybody is sending him letters. Nowadays, people don't. I know. I bet little kids still do it, but we don't really do letters anymore. We mostly like do email and stuff like that. But they could, but people still do it. It's not. We just don't do it that often. That's like the flaw of the older movie because that part is somewhat no longer relevant anymore because of how advanced technology is nowadays. So the newer version, we still use the dollar. So we still have that same what's on the dollar, faith in God and stuff like that. So both like they use the same jokes, like they bring them the lawyer's kid or the lawyer's wife in the older version. This version's in the 90s version, it's the lawyer's kid. Wait, okay, the lawyer's kid is in the older version. I think the judge's kid is in the newer version. But I remembered they brought they brought like one of the wives, so they did the same joke and stuff like that, and they have like pretty much the whole entire town judging those those two characters, the the judge and the lawyer to the psychologist or the competition or the old Santa or the ex Santa to Cole in in the 90s version. So, and I think the lawyer for Santa, he is a very good soul. If I had to decide if I don't think he did not believe in Santa until the very end. All he wanted to do was help out Chris in both versions and help him. Like, he never thought him as insane. He just thought him as a kind old man who was who wanted to help out people by being Santa and help out his girlfriend and his girlfriend's kid. So he did to me. He did not believe he was Santa until the very end um the cat until the kid gets the house and stuff in both versions. So even though he does not believe in Santa, he helps out Chris in the trial and helps prove to the world that, even into himself, that Santa exists. And he does it the best way he can by doing it legally and then and stuff like that. So, and the bad guy, I the lawyer, I like in both versions. Um, the court case, it's hard to say because both versions give it a good way. So I would have to say the newer version because it's still more relevant than the older version. It's not its fault, it's just more relevant. So the bad guys, like I still think the original version's bad guys are better because I don't believe it needs competition in the new version. I mean, when I was a little kid, I didn't really care, but now when I watched it again, like, why did you have to bring competition into this? I mean, no, I know nowadays stores compete more back then, more compete more nowadays than they do then, but it has to do with more than just this movie has nothing to do with competition. It has to do with the faith that it does Santa Claus exist, and the whole entire thing with faith, the whole entire thing with believing in him, has nothing to do with competition. Which store is better? So, um, and I just think it's way more easier to if the bad guy has to do with psychological deals, since that's the entire deal what's going on here. Because it's the bad guy who thinks he's Santa, so it has to do with more psychological stuff. So since in the older version, it's a therapist that's a bad guy, that makes more sense than another store. I mean, the newer version, they don't even talk about you don't even have a therapist in it really for him, for the Coles place. I don't know, because maybe nowadays they don't do those type of things anymore. Back then they did, but that for some reason they don't even have him in the movie. So, and I liked the whole entire ordeal with him, like saying him acting on insane and stuff like that. And even though even people who are not jerks thinking he's crazy. Um, so, and I don't think the judge and the therapist and the competition's lawyer are bad guys. They're just trying to do what the law is supposed to do, and they're supposed to just go by evidence. Because if any other case, that both the lawyer and the judge would have to go by evidence. So I would have to say the older version again. So the last thing I'm gonna judge is the story. I think both versions do really good. They will tackleize the beginning really good. The Hunter Parade thing, where the ex Santa for Colvin Macy's is drunk and cannot be Santa because that's the last thing you want to see on TV or outside the window. I don't know. Did they do the TVs back then in the older version? Do you know version days? So I, that part in the story, they pretty much it's about a guy who has to prove that he's Santa Claus to everybody, and I like both. I like both stories versions, but I think the older version represents the story better because both do have characters that are more lively, but I think the older version shows it way more better, and it shows more proof of that Santa is real. Because even though they don't really show that much, because they don't, in the older version, at the very end, he leaves his cane there. And that's what gets the mother and the lawyer to believe that he's Santa. Until then, neither of them believed in it. I mean, everybody else probably was probably doing it for the kids and stuff like that. But those two, those two were the ones that these three are the ones that needed to be convinced out the most in the movie. I mean, the little girl, since she's a kid, she believed, and when she first saw him doing all that stuff with two other kids, like speaking other languages, doing sign language. After seeing that, and after seeing how he helped her be being a kid again, when she was not ever allowed to be a kid because her mom. So since we see that he left his cane there, it got them to believe that he is Santa. So I would have to say the older version, Miracle on 34th Street, is the best version. Um, Now I'm gonna give them both ratings. So the older version, I'll give it a 10 out of 10. And even though it's a black and white movie, because I usually don't watch black and white movies because I have a hard time watching them since I mean I love movies and I just want them to make it like a color version of them. That way it's a lot easier to tell what's going on, stuff like that. And some movies are good that are black and white. But I just never, since how young I am, and I want to give them a chance. And this one, I give it a chance because the story is so good and there is a color version of it. So I love it. And the new version, I'll give it an 8 out of 10 because it really tried to be like to try to be as good as the older version, but you just can't. So a lot of times you just can't compete with the older version. I just wish they would. So that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Have a Merry Christmas. Bye.